Robert Baratheon ruled Westeros for 17 years without a great war. No succession crisis, nothing that burned a city down. And when he died, he left the realm 6 million gold pieces in debt. Aerys Targaryen managed the opposite, which is the part that should bother you. He was insane. He burned people alive in his own throne room and murdered his own lords, and by every account we have, he still left behind a treasury full of gold. You watched all 8 seasons, and that 6 million figure was said out loud in front of you fairly early on. Robert is the easiest character in the show to forgive. He drinks, he hunts, and the writing keeps him warm enough that when Westeros falls apart, nobody thinks to go and check his accounts. He didn't ruin the realm by being lazy. He ruined it by being expensive. Season 1, Episode 3. Ned Stark sits down to his first small council meeting, and Robert wants a tournament. Ned asks what it costs. 40,000 gold dragons to the champion, 20,000 to the runner-up, 20,000 to the winning archer. Ned asks whether the treasury can bear it, and Littlefinger tells him the crown already owes Tywin Lannister 3 million gold. More than 6 million in total, once you count the Iron Bank of Braavos and everyone else the crown has borrowed from. 6 million. Robert has just put 80,000 gold on the table for one afternoon of jousting, which makes the crown's debt about 75 of those tournaments, stacked up and owed before the story has properly started. The scene lasts about 90 seconds. Then the show moves on, and so did you. Robert dies. The debt does not. Tyrion eventually takes over as acting hand and finds the finances hollowed out. But the debt had already done something much quieter, long before that. It is why nothing happens when Jaime Lannister attacks Ned Stark in the street. Robert owed Tywin 3 million gold, and he knew exactly whose gold it was. So the king who should have arrested a Lannister let it go instead, and that silence is where the War of the Five Kings actually begins. The Iron Bank had been watching all of this. So when Davos turns up in Braavos asking them to back Stannis, the real question in the room is not about Stannis. It is whether the crown is still worth lending to, and by then it was not. A bank that funds kings will always find another king. Cersei owes the Faith of the Seven money she does not have. Her solution is to cut a deal with the High Sparrow, restore the Faith militant, and the crown's debt to the Faith gets forgiven. She arms a religious order to escape a bill, and that same order puts her in a cell and walks her naked through her own city. By season 7, when she finally clears the Iron Bank in full, the gold comes out of Highgarden. House Tyrell is destroyed to close an account Robert opened. One thing here does cut against my own argument, and it's worth saying out loud. 6 million in debt did not actually stop the realm from working. The gold cloaks got paid, the fleet stayed afloat, the court kept eating, which means income was covering the interest well enough for 17 years. Robert's spending was survivable while Robert was alive. It only turned fatal once there was a war to pay for on top of it. When I first started pulling this together, I had Cersei down as the one who emptied the treasury, and I was wrong about that. The borrowing was all finished long before she had any say in it, and she inherited the results. There is a question here that nobody has settled. Robert spent the money, but Littlefinger counted it. For those same 17 years, Petyr Baelish was master of coin. The realm's finances were his job, and he had a reputation for it. They said he could rub 2 gold dragons together and breed a third. And across those same 17 years, a man born to the smallest house in the Vale somehow ended up Lord of Harrenhal and Lord Paramount of the Trident. Nobody ever audited him. Robert died in a hunting accident, drunk and satisfied, convinced he had won everything worth winning. He never found out that the piece he was proudest of had been bought on credit, or that the bill would come due on everyone who came after him. The show told you in episode 3, it just never told you it mattered.